Inside this room, all of my dreams become realities, and some of my realities become dreams.
All my life I've awaited your coming and dreaded it.
I like them French fried potatoes.
Insanity runs in my family. It practically gallops.
I always have a wonderful time, wherever I am, whomever I'm with.
This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
It's the Al Travis Show, and we're lucky to have her. She's Representative Natalie Zeleznikar. We thank her very much for taking time to be here. Representative, thank you.
Thank you.
Interesting when I get you signed up to be on, not that you're not one of those people that are out there, but I get up this morning, and I don't know if it's on my X feed, whatever it was, is video from the House floor. There's Representative Zeleznikar speaking up. And I might got this a little bit wrong. You correct what I get wrong.
Sure.
There's an amendment. I don't know what the bill was to, but you're on the floor trying to amend a bill that basically said 2 years ago when the Democrats had charge of everything, they cut funding for pro-choice medical clinics, and you wanted to reinstate it, put it back there where it was. And basically what we're talking about is they put plenty of money towards places that will help you get rid of a baby, an unborn child. Mm-hmm. But they got rid of the stuff that says we'll help you if you decide you'll keep the baby. Is that really a pro-choice argument? It's pro-choice if you go our way.
That's what my argument would be, is that I reminded the body that the very definition of pro-choice is a legal right to make decisions about your own reproductive health. And it seems to me that if you're funding one option only for medical assistance, women, and you're not funding the other two options, which are maternity homes and pregnancy resource centers, there really is no choice. There's one option and that's it. And that's the unfortunate reality. I mean, because for 17 years, Senate and House members in a bipartisan fashion understood that. And so I think it pretty much debunks the argument or the statement of being pro-choice when there's one option.
Yeah, absolutely. Do me a favor, if you can pop your phone or up just a little bit. We're not seeing your whole face. No, that either way is fine, but we're just not seeing your whole face for folks who want to join us on the YouTube or Facebook. So let me ask you this. If we're coming down to less than a week now, right? You have less than a week to get our work done.
Oh,
and
right.
What's that?
Yeah, you're right. There's less than a week. So
if that's the case, and we are having arguments about something like you say was for 17 years a no-brainer, then the trifecta comes. They got what they wanted. Hey, people, you get what you vote for. I'm not fighting what they did. But now that's no longer the way it is. We now have Republicans like yourself, in charge of the House. Mm-hmm. And they're going to stand their ground on this, right? They voted your amendment down. This is not going to happen.
Right.
On something that's happened for 17 years, we'd all agree. And it's a tough argument for me to see the other side, except for I presume financial. How much money would this amendment be worth? Do we have a financial line?
It's really 1% of the health budget in the Minnesota Department of Health. It would be $4 million each year, so an $8 million total. $25 million approximately is allocated for grants that come through the sexual and reproductive health grants, which is how Planned Parenthood would receive their money. Mm-hmm. And in contrast, the pregnancy alternative grants, which has historically been pregnancy resource centers and also maternity homes, would have $8 million for every biennium.
Okay. So it isn't a massive amount of money. I guess we're sitting here looking at a $6 billion deficit. If this was some crazy number, I got it. Maybe you'd have the line. But my point is, if they're going to put their foot down here, no, we are not listening to this. Representative, what would make me believe there's any chance they're going to give up on medical Minnesota care for illegal aliens, free college for illegal aliens, summer school workers getting unemployment, the big stuff? What makes you think? Do you think they'll fold on any of it?
No, I don't. I would love to be. I haven't seen that yet.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
No, if I go by behavior, usually is a good indicator of future behavior. I would say it looks pretty obvious to me what's happening. And so, my position has been all along, illegals in healthcare is an absolute hardline no. And so we won't be done on Monday or Tuesday when the 19th is, if that's the case, because Republicans are going to hold the line in the House. We're tied 67-67. There are some things we don't have. The K-12 education bill that was signed was taken back by the Democrats. So they're not honoring an agreement that they had. And it's all over the issue that is another deal breaker for Republicans that we absolutely have to address. Mandates that were passed on to districts that don't have a funding source because they only funded the unemployment for a couple years, which is pretty amazing that you're going to put a huge cost on every district across the state and then say, we accomplished this, we did this. And yeah, they did it to you. They're going to increase your property taxes by double-digit increases next year if we don't stop the things that affect property taxes, which will be the issue of no money coming from the state to fund ongoing summer unemployment and many other things for counties and school districts and cities. So the illegals in healthcare, there's probably 4 items I can come off the top of my head that are a line in the sand. So it's going to be a long.
It is the term you use, and I love that, the line in the sand. You are an assistant GOP floor leader as far as your resume goes. So you got the inside skinny here. And we absolutely love Speaker of the House Damas. She comes to this program with us when she can. I'm not ripping her in the least.
Yeah.
But she came on and said, no new taxes. This was her line in the sand, but it's in the sand for a reason. All this stuff gets in the sand. The sand can be moved a little bit. How concrete are the 67 Republicans? And I say this with all due respect, no new taxes. Mm-hmm. And then last week we hear maybe some fee increases, that'd be different. That's very Tim Pawlenty-like from back in the day.
Yeah.
Does that include no new fees? Do the 67 stand fast?
I would say yes. There's one thing in the transportation bill, and that is, in full transparency, I'm an author on that bill. But I don't see that as a new tax. And I really don't, it's a fee in the sense for some people. And what that is, it's really a parity. We've had the gas tax, so that's not a new tax. The gas tax is happening for all of us that drive vehicles that pump up at the gas station. The reality is that the people that drive 100% EV vehicles pay a $75 registration fee, which is much less than what it would cost. And the gas tax is the method we have to fund the roads and bridges. So my position was, we need to make sure we pair, if we're going to this, carbon-free lane, and that's the direction, that we have to have a way to sustain our roads and bridges, and we need a fairness system for everybody to pay in. So
I don't know that anyone's going to consider. I don't think anyone's considering that raising taxes. I really don't. I guess I'm talking about in general raising let's use one the governor's put out there. Non-medical insurance tax would almost double with the governor's bill. We're talking about your insurance for eye care, dental care. That supplemental stuff you've gotten would almost double.
And we've said no to that. We've absolutely said no to that.
No, I get the no. I love the no. The no is great. The no is good for the next 6 days. Will Republicans hold fast on the 8th day when people are saying, what do you mean you're closing? What do you mean? And you probably have a month before the government closes down, right? June 1st, June?
Yeah, we have till June. I mean, we have to be done with session on the 19th, but that would be, if it looks like we're on a trajectory of not being done because we have not heard the K through. There's just many. I don't know how the process would be to land the plane by the 19th. So we'd be in special session, and then we have till June 30th. If we don't have a deal by June 30th, yes, the government shuts down July 1. And so these things I think are an absolute deal breaker for Minnesota because we cannot have it. The state is broke. We have a $6 billion deficit. So we have to look at providing services to the community that are the core services and get back to that and peel this onion back and say no to these new programs that they've stacked on the deck in 2023.
Let me go at it one more time, then we'll go to break. Here's my problem, and I'm trusting again. I love Mr. Damath. You seem absolutely rock solid on all this. As soon as you guys get done on the 19th and we get into overtime, and you have to have a special session, That's when all the press in this state will be going after you Republicans for trying, you're going to hurt little babies. You're going to hurt all, the list will go on all the people. We're going to find somebody who didn't get a check somewhere. And you guys are going to be beaten with the ugly stick all the way to June 30th. If it goes there, you go past June 30th. Oh, good night. Get out of the, this is going to be the end of times.
Yeah.
Are you willing to hang? I get it. I guess my question comes, I heard Ms. Namath say, keep in mind, we're 1/6 of all the power here. We don't have much. And I'm concerned we're laying the groundwork to say nothing else we could do.
Yeah, I mean, for me, as representing northeastern Minnesota, the illegals in healthcare is an absolute line in the sand. And there's the other ones that I've said too are the biggest issue right now. I worry about is the governor's going to say we have a balanced budget, and that could happen at the state. But if it means that all these costs are getting shifted back to our local communities, and we're going to see the county commissioner in St. Louis County, they're telling me we're going to see double-digit increases for St. Louis County, and that's the largest county in the state. It will happen unless we modify these shifts that the governor wants to do for school district costs, for county costs, and all these new programs that they're implementing will result in a double-digit property tax. And that, to me, is going to hurt everybody back home and in the state. So the issues are huge. And so, it's not just the state balance, it's making Minnesota a place that we can afford to live in. And so if getting transferred down to the county, that's an absolute ridiculous plan in my mind.
Fair enough. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll talk more. I want to find out, I'll lead you with the witness with this. I'm not exactly sure how, when I look at the numbers of the school districts that are in trouble because the unfunded mandates, i.e. the paying cooks and bus drivers for unemployment in the 3 months that they're off, knowing that they were going to be off, stuff like that. Why are the school districts not more up in arms? Why are we not hearing from every local school district and every local paper saying, we'll go broke? They keep this up, we'll go broke. I'm not hearing, and I want to know why. We'll talk about it with Natalie Zeleznikar, representative from northern Minnesota, next.
Dust from livestock buildings can be harmful to your animals and to you. Coughing animals can lead to costly vet visits and other serious health problems. Now there's an environmentally safe solution for your dust problems. It's called Dust Lock. Dust Lock can control the dust all summer long with just one application. Protect your animals and your health with Dust Lock. Learn more at dustlock.com.
Do you have a closet full of old videos, photos, slides, or films? Regain that space and preserve those memories for future generations. Visit archivinglifemedia.com or call 952-829-8018. See how safe and simple it is to digitize all your media. Gain peace of mind knowing that all those important memories will be saved and can be seen and shared again. Do it today. Check out archivinglifemedia.com or give them a call, 952-829-8018.
you don't need to ask him his opinion more than once. Al Travis on The Al Travis Show.
I'm lucky to have our Representative Natalie Zeleznikar in the program with this representative when we went to break. What I'm not getting is I only know about one school district that isn't in huge financial trouble at the moment because of the mandate set up 2 years ago. As an example, as school districts having to pay the unemployment insurance for every part-time employee that would take the summers off. We've gone through schools for about 250 years, and they take summers off. It's been a deal. But I don't hear the superintendents hooting and hollering. Are you getting that at the Capitol? Are they not doing it because of some weird relationship with the teachers union? Why are we not hearing more from them?
I am hearing from them. I mean, there's a school board association, and every elected state and House, Senate, and in the House has heard from them. So The fact that the media is not picking it up, I think is a whole nother topic, because it's definitely hurting our districts. And and I just watched Almanac. It was on Almanac, and two of the co-chairs were talking about the issues for the school district. So some of the media is starting to talk about it, but it's not being talked about to the degree it needs to be, for sure.
All right, let me throw one more out at you, because this is an interesting fight for me, and I only say this again: $18 billion they spent 2 years ago. They got in charge. They were voted in. Do what you're going to do.
Yep.
To me, when you have the $6 billion deficit coming our way now, and you have Republicans in the mix, you now have to have some sort of agreement going on. To me, last piled on, first taken off sort of a situation. That's what I'm throwing out here. So Minnesota decided to give illegal aliens in Minnesota free Minnesota care.
Mm-hmm.
Thought it'd be about 5,000 people. It got up to 17,000 people. It's costing us. The other thing coming up is House Republicans on the U.S. side of the Capitol have now decided they're going to cut, or at least that's what they're looking at doing, is cutting states like Minnesota that are giving illegal aliens Medicare. They're looking to cut that from 90% to 80%. Could cost Minnesota $325 million. That's the story today from the MinnPost. This is huge. I get the Republicans saying we got to cut back. We can't lose to the 325. We shouldn't be putting out $600 million for illegals anyway. Will the Democrats fight on this, or is this something that could be repealed pretty readily?
I think the Democrats are absolutely going to fight on it, but I think it's an 80% issue, in where 80% of the public supports what the Democrat or the Republican position is, that this should not have been added to the Minnesota Care that does it for Minnesotans. That program, like you said, is paid 90% for Minnesotans by the federal government, but the federal government will pay zero for illegals, which means there's a tax bill to the Minnesota taxpayer of $700 million to cover illegals through the MinCare program. So make no mistake, there's still services at the emergency room for everybody. And those that are here legally on a green card have access to Minnesota Care right now. But absolutely, we're going to hold the line that's the first thing that should not be funded, is $600 million there. The new programs they also added a program, the summer unemployment. And then there's a big thing coming in 27. We've got the African Family Preservation Act. That was funded only for Ramsey and Hennepin County, of $2.5 million to roll out that whole new program. And they want to do it in 87 counties. It'll cost St. Louis County, I think, $5 million to implement that program, with no money coming from the state. And that's just one example. So counties are up in arms about all these costs being So we absolutely need to hold the line and say no. The first things we're going to roll back, delay, or not implement are the things you added to the tax roll in 2023 that is not a Minnesota priority for all Minnesotans.
Yeah. All right, we are completely out of time. Representative, I do thank you for taking the time to come on the program. I know you guys are busy, 6 days to go. Go get them. Do the best you can. I appreciate you being here.
I will. Have a great day, everybody.
Representative Natalie Zeleznikar. Did it again.